That's incredible.
That's cute.
Just knowing the journey that B-Boy has had throughout his career, coming in from China to then Brazil, and then now he's here in the LCS. You do want to see him basically running, and the fact that his parents are here now, it's great to see.
Okay, Twisted Fate, yes or no? Here, actually, Insanity is winning the chat vote for something new by 70%.
That's pretty big.
70% saying it won't be something new. So there's a lot of expectation now. We built him up that he's going to be the Zach Mid, weird, kooky pick guy.
The last game he played was on the Corki, too. So we're setting up an expectation.
It'd be so sad. I mean, Ori and Udyr have both been taken off the table. It would be really funny if he just ends up picking the Corki, but it's going to be Varus coming through. And then obviously Udyr locked in for Castle on the IMT side. We've talked about how strong this champion is, especially if you can get the push into topside turret and then proxy the wave for complete control over topside.
Will be really important. And I think what Shopify Rebellion did was really good here. Banning the Kalista, although it has been a priority, last few games has been kind of being let go, but you're going up against Tactical, who is the strongest, I would say, Kalista. Like, that's his best pick, in my opinion. And IMT wants to center their entire draft or playstyle around bot lane. So Tactical and Olleh don't get them going. So pick the strongest available AD carry while banning the Kalista away. I would love to see that from Shopify Rebellion.
I think the Rell being the flex pick as well between Zeyzal and Bugi make this a little more difficult for Immortals to draft. That is 90% going to be a Maokai jungle for Armao. Emily, you mentioned that there was an AP Maokai last night.
Yeah, so it was Aki, and I believe he went, like Leandry's Shadow Flame, I think, in their game, NIP versus IG. It would be really interesting, considering people have also been super critical of Udyr builds, right? And in terms of going full tank Udyr, how much power can you have versus adding a little bit more damage in there, so when you are sitting on top of your opposing carries, you're doing damage and kind of running at them, keeping them out of the fight.
And this is looking like it's going to be a Jayce for Mask. Now, I've seen his Jayce pick when he was in EU Masters. It was quite good. I actually really liked it. Even hearing from Blabber in the interview with you that he was pretty impressed with Mask. With the scrims coming into this split. So overall, there has been some hype on Mask and how well he does perform and how strong his champion pool generally is. So the fact that now we're seeing it come to fruition. I want to see what the 4-5 is looking like for Tactical and Olleh here, because with Jayce, it opens the window for some poke. So Ezreal is still available if they want to do that, but without Karma, you lose out in that strong poke bot lane.
Yeah, Maokai Jayce is one of the big pairings. A little surprised they didn't go Corki, but that would have given them triple AP. I also want to just float something out there just in case it happens.
Okay.
What if Insanity's pick's already locked in?
Ooh.
Varus mid?
Yeah, what if he's playing Varus mid? Probably not against Jayce.
Yeah, probably not against Jayce.
Before the Jayce, I think it was a flex. I actually do think it was a flex pick because we got to see Varus top in the LEC earlier today.
True. And even in Champions Queue, the Varus top, or just Varus in solo lanes in general, was just oppressive. Still has some tankier itemization in 3-4 if you wanted to go for Terminus and just kind of going tanky from that point forward. But here we go. That's a Nocturne locked in.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the Nocturne coming out of B-Boy because, wait, it's Nocturne mid. Is it Nocturne mid?
Or is it Nocturne jungle?
Nocturne mid.
Oh, no. We don't know yet.
Already locked in.
We don't know yet.
On the other side, though, Lillia is a pick I actually did really want to see on this patch. She is incredibly strong. We'll see. She's going jungle. And it's a Maokai sport.
We have just had the switcheroos actually happen on Immortals' side. It looks like Insanity is going to be playing Akali, so nothing crazy happening there. It is something normal for Insanity, so chat, you're wrong.
Sad.
Also, we all led you down the hole to be wrong, so it is our fault. I take the responsibility. But looking at these drafts overall, huge poke comp from IMT, actually, with the flex Maokai. You can actually get pretty tanky on support Maokai now, if you would like, and you can see Shopify definitely kind of all-inning on the dive there with the Akali Nocturne combo.
Yeah, I like the composition from Shopify a little bit more. The Lillia is interesting to me, and we've been seeing it being picked in solo queue quite a bit against heavy melee compositions. This one's a little bit tougher. You're going to be dealing with Nocturne and Akali, so I think it's going to be really hard for Armao to keep alive. So interested in the draft, like Shopify Rebellions a little bit more.
Yeah, I can't believe I got baited into thinking it was Nocturne mid from Sanity.
It was in your head.
You know?
Yeah. He was going to play something weird.
The moment you started thinking.
Before, hasn't he? He played it last year.
I remember on IMT way back he played it for sure. So like that's something that has always been in his wheelhouse. That being said, with the coaches fist bumping and everything, we're going to be sending this straight to the casters for the call.
Hell yeah! Welcome back, everybody. It's time for our last game of the day. It's Immortals going up against Shopify Rebellion. You know what I always do, Isaac, whenever I read their in-game tags? I read it as Summoner's Rift. SR, I've been playing League of Legends.
Summoner's Rift Insanity. How I feel after playing League of Legends every
exactly.
day.
I've been playing this game for over a decade now. I have the League of Legends brain rot, so I can't read SR as anything else. But they've got B-Boy this time. I'm interested to see.
So good anymore.
Yeah, it's we're old now too. I'm interested to see how this is going to play out here. We do have the cleanse for tacticals. Jhin, he wants to make sure that he's not just getting immediately exploded by so much of the CC that they have with the champion, like the Rell. Same thing being run for B-Boy here. When you're up against Maokai, easy point-and-click CC. You just got to get out of it.
Yep. It'll be an interesting game. Another game of Udyr. We haven't seen Udyr, I feel like, do that well, but Castle, I think, really is just trying to get comfortable kind of in the league, right? You know, I think I heard quite a few good things about how he's performing on scrims, in particular on the Jax, and he did get to bring it out last week, but I don't think, really had that performance that he did want.
Right.
Armao on the invade here with Udyr. Very likely going to be starting enemy Raptors. Olleh spots that Bugi and Zeyzal are just answering this. So instead of contesting, they're saying, okay, we already kind of know what you're going to do. So we're just going to be doing the exact same invade. We're going to trade from this spot. And Zeyzal just make sure that Olleh is not waiting around at that red to cheese him. And we'll have to see, which jungler kind of bails out of that invade first. Are you going to continue on to each other's reds? Are you going to go back to your own side? Armao very clearly moving to start the own red. And Bugi is going to be starting up a red of his own on the other side. So it does just seem like it's going to be split map, trade sides, vertical jungling.
It's like it's a game of jungler's chicken, right? You don't want to leave before the other guy leaves. You don't want to swerve first, because then you just end up behind the pace for the econ, as Castle immediately takes control over the top lane there, pushing FakeGod back.
Yep, gets a nice little trade there on to FakeGod. That early Phoenix ulti does do so much damage. The slow from it,
so strong.
It's really, really powerful. You kind of just have to fully retreat from it. You can't really trade into it, and that's the situation that FakeGod was in, but he does have fleet, and every time you go mega, you keep that additional HP after you transform back, so it is not that hard to kind of just sustain back up. You can see Bugi, though, finishes 3-camp clear, going to be going back towards his own blue. Same thing happening here on the other side for Armao. Going to be excited to see how he performs on the Lillia, because one of the things that we were kind of talking about, on the dive, is that it does feel like with this team, when Armao is playing on a team with really strong laners, he can kind of play that slow, steady style that I think people really associate with him. Playing for team fights, playing tanks, playing that solid style of League of Legends. But on a team where your lanes aren't necessarily going to be winning, you kind of sometimes need that more active jungler, that person who's going to be able to take risks, who's going to be able to make things happen. And that's kind of what I'm looking at for Armao this week. Can he be that player to really make some things happen for him? Because Immortals struggled last week. They didn't really have, I think, solid direction in their gameplay. It didn't feel like they had any particular player that you were really looking that was dominating lanes that you could always play through. So I think in those cases, a lot of pressure gets put on the jungler. You need to put one of those lanes in a commanding position through your gameplay.
Well, right now, Mask does have control over the mid lane here on his Jayce. You could hear, remember, Raz was singing some praises for this pick, particularly from Mask back during the draft, so hopefully he can keep that pressure up, continue being a point of strength that Immortals might be able to play through to try to get their first win on the board here. Remember, these two teams are the ones currently battling, trying to claw their way up from the bottom.
Exactly, and this is actually one of his most played champions all time. His most played is here at 24. This is his 22nd Jayce game, so almost up there. And he's an 81% win rate on it. So the highest of any champion he's played, besides the ones that are like, oh, I played it one time and got a win. So beyond just a game or two, this is by far his most successful champion. Both junglers now returning to those Raptors, going to be back there as Zeyzal has to come here to cover because Insanity is getting so low. But we'll see if Insanity is going to be able to pick up most of this farm.
Yeah, he really doesn't want to lose out on it. You can see there's already quite a gap in those CS counts as Olleh has been found out in his own jungle. Zeyzal and Bugi working together. Olleh wanted to flash away, but he's only flashing into his own demise, but Mask is ready to follow it up, and they'll make it a 1-for-1. Zeyzal trying to escape here, pops the flash on the Rell. Mask still has a flash of his own, but with low mana and cooldowns already spent on the first kill, he will not be able to catch up and end up turning that in the favor of Immortals, ends up being an even trade.
Yeah, Olleh does end up going down, but Mask gets that blue buff, and he's already dominating in the mid lane. And he's been around for a while. We can take a look at his career timeline. You know, he was on T1 as a trainee, then he was playing, you know, challengers with KT. He was on Unicorns of Love on their amateur team as FakeGod forced a flash away from that Unleashed Phoenix form. So he's been around for a while, you know, bouncing between a number of different teams, mostly playing in that tier 2 scene. Oh man, if Castle ghosted early, he kills him there. Yeah. He ghosted in the last second. If he early ghosted, the very least, FakeGod has to actually cancel that recall. A little bit of a mistake from him, but still lane going pretty damn well for Castle.
Because I think the damage from the Phoenix actually did tick on him, but it just did it during that last quarter second invulnerability time. For those of y'all who don't know, if you take damage during the last quarter second of the 8-second recall timer, the champion still goes back anyway. And I think that's what happened right there, because it was such a tight window. Yeah, those are the ones where it's just the smallest thing makes the biggest difference. But unfortunately for Castle, he will not stop the recall on FakeGod, who has purchased the entirety of his Swifty boots, recognizes that move speed is going to matter a lot in this top lane matchup.
Yeah, I mean, you're just going to be getting Phoenix form over and over and over. Basically, the Udyr is just bouncing around between forms. Every time you auto, you know, with your kind of passive auto on the Udyr, you're getting cooldown reduction towards that ultimate or the unleashed form, whatever it is called.
Awaken.
Basically, just the ulti. Unwakened, okay, there you go. And it's almost always just going to be that Phoenix form that's getting thrown down on him. So with the fleet footwork, with the Swifty boots, he's going to be able to kite that out pretty effectively and just try to neutralize this lane. But it's a good start for Immortals. You know, overall, Mask very, you know, comfortable in that mid lane, has the earliest rated Dirk, and with the way that lethality is kind of calculated differently in this season, it is really strong early on. Yeah. It is very, very powerful. He had that blue buff for a little bit that he picked off that kill. And is up farm, but Bugi again heading back towards mid here. Armao, though, is there to cover, and instead he's not going to be able to take that E back in. Plus, Armao is going to be able to defend his own Raptors, which means Bugi walks across the map and is going to get forced back to his side.
And critically, Armao level 6, excuse me, while Bugi is only halfway to that point himself. So it's not like you can just go pick up a camp. Okay, cool, now we're even. Now I can go back to contesting. As long as Armao has the ulti and Bugi doesn't, he's got to be careful.
Exactly, and that's kind of one of the costs of that earlier exchange of kills. The fact that Bugi was the one who died. Olleh died on the other side. Armao did get a little bit of a head on the experience. So Mask just continuing to push this in. Already has one plate down. Looks like about half the second plate is already gone. Olleh on the invade here. There are 3 members top. Yeah. Bugi may not be expecting the whole squad to be here, and he could be in trouble.
Yeah, he can't turn out the lights. Olleh immediately, though, going after him with the Twisted Advance. That gets eaten by the spell shield. Yeah. So the slow from the sapling isn't enough to keep him locked down for the follow-up, as FakeGod trying to deal with Castle's relentless aggression here in the top side. Just trying to trade however he can, make sure that he keeps farming up. He still does have a farm advantage, or at least very close to equal once Castle picks up these next couple. Armao's making his way up here, but Zeyzal is tracking him the entire time.
Yep, going to be covering up on that top side. Not going to be able to get too much, you know, does scoop him back into the tower, but Udyr is just so damn tanky. Mask, again, just looking to push out, and Cindy trying to weather the storm, as you kind of have to in most of these melee versus ranged matchups early on. Down towards bot lane, we haven't seen too much of it, but B-Boy, you know, making his debut with the squad. I think a lot of pressure on him because Turtle actually played pretty damn well, I think, individually last week, even though it was in losses. People are really shutting out Turtle a lot, so the expectation is going to be pretty hard here for B-Boy. And he is going to be playing on-hit Varus. Mostly we've been seeing lethality these days in this new season. Yeah. But it is clearly going to be that on-hit style, while Tactical over on the other side is playing lethality Jhin. Basically exclusively the only build it feels like you see from him these days.
Yeah, a lot of people, all of the high-ranking Jhins that I know of are playing the lethality build these days. You can just have so much power with it. especially with the utility that you get from Ghostblade too. Jhin being one of those traditional immobile carries, loves just being able to have that, the extra ability to either kite out, chase down, whatever you might need. Still a pretty close game overall in terms of the gold difference between the teams. About 500 favoring Immortals right now, but it was that first Drake that went over to Shopify. You can see the grub counter is 3 in the favor of IMT, so that's going to be another responsibility that Shopify is going to have. Try to prevent them from hitting that critical 5.
And we've got to see, you know, Tactical, there's some stats that are kind of interesting. Immortals just does not win, basically, when he is behind, right? When he is behind at 14, they're 0-11. When he is ahead, they are 5-4. Kind of does really lead you to believe that he is that only true carry threat on the team, that they really need to put him in a good spot. So far, is about even down in that bot lane, but we'll see if they can put him into an advantageous spot, utilize Tactical as that big carry threat. Nice buffer from Zeyzal.
Yeah, Zeyzal doing a good job there, utilizing the momentum of the crash down to get away from the lockup of Twisted Advance. Olleh still level 5 here on the Maokai. Zeyzal the same on the Rell. They're both about 2/3, 3/4 of the way to those ultimates, and both of them are so big, so impactful for a team fight. You would think that they'd be trying to get to them as swiftly as they can. Bvoy and Tactical also both having the ultis up for themselves, but with Flash and Cleanse up for both AD carries, it's really hard to make a play on either one of them.
Yeah, it is very difficult. You know, I think if you have the jungler there, then maybe you can look for that sort of a play. You know, Bugi is hovering down towards that bottom side, has the ulti available. Very likely going to be going towards that Hexblade. It's pretty much all that you do see. The experimental Hexblade so strong on particular champions, Nocturne being one of them. The move speed, the attack speed during the ulti is so powerful, allows you to get that tether. It's also really good. I've seen it on Zeri, on Vayne, on Trundle. Those are the main ones I seem to see it on. It's one of these niche items that's super strong, but like only for a couple different picks. So it is kind of interesting, but it's almost single-handedly, I feel like, keeping Nocturne in the high-level prominence that we're seeing from it.
I mean, because when you think about it, the item that was that for Nocturne before was Stridebreaker before the Mythic removal, and then Stridebreaker lost a lot of what made it feel good with the change to the items, but now Shopify Rebellion on to the second set of grubs. They claim the first one. Remember, they want to get at least 2 to stop their opponents from spawning the grublings. As the engage comes out and Immortals are ready to lock them down. Insanity hiding in the smoke, looking to get himself away. Mask down to half HP as Shopify try to turn it back, but Insanity shot in the face as he tries to do a cartwheel into the middle. Castle beats down another one off to the side. Bvoy's into the picture, and Bugi's the one who's about to have his epitaph drawn. Goodbye to Shopify, and Immortals are the ones to rack up 3.
Massive fight there for Immortals, and they're going to be able to get at least one more play in the mid lane as well. It started out okay for Shopify as Bvoy was able to nail an ultimate across on a Mask, and they had the Nocturne ult to follow it up. Olleh, you know, is kind of fishing here. Does look like he wants to go for that engage. Flashes forward. The counter engage from Zeyzal really did leave something to be desired here. You know, committing that ulti just in onto Olleh. If he had that for follow-up on a Mask, maybe it's a bit of a different story. But you can see Bvoy nailed the ulti on a Mask. Bugi goes in, but he's able to flash out of there. And then as Insanity's piling in, Tactical takes him out, and a shock blast from Mask helps Castle to finish off Insanity. Nicely played by Immortals. They're able to chase him down. Castle gets up there, knocks a blast cone, knocks another kill into their waiting arms, and now Insanity in trouble.
Insanity stuck at 1/4 HP as the smoke fades away, but he will survive by dashing back over the wall, just barely able to get away from Mask there. And I honestly think shutting Insanity down to this degree, this guy was a huge X factor last year when the spot belonged to TSM when he was playing on that org. His performances on his mid lane picks were huge for so many of their wins, and it feels like this whole game, he's just been suffocated under his own turf.
Absolutely. I think he's one of the biggest reasons that people power ranked Shopify above teams like Immortals and Dignitas.
Yeah.
Was largely that they're saying, you know what? Insanity's going to carry some games. He's going to make some stuff happen. This guy had been very reliable for TSM, had been a very creative player. So keeping him down in this game is really, really nice. You can see double lethality items already through for Mask and Tactical. They both have their Ghostblade completed. So going to be feeling quite strong at this point in the game. And Armao just power farming away, takes a dragon here. We'll have to see what the rift is going to be. It is going to be Chemtech Rift, so not the one you're really looking for if you feel that you're in a position of power. But it is still a fun one to play on. Even though the dragons feel useless, it's my favorite rift to actually play on.
Because of the goofy plants yeet you 500 feet the other direction.
The goofy plants.
Okay, that's fair. I can respect the goofy plants. Whenever I play on this Rift, I always hit the blast cone just because it's fun.
Yeah, even if you don't really need to.
Yeah, you just have to use it because of how much fun it is. It's like a theme park ride. But it is also just about 14 minutes into the game. You talked earlier about how Immortals needs Tactical to be ahead at 14 minutes if they want to win. And as I pull up the stats, he is about 550 gold above
that counts.
His opponent.
We take that.
Yeah, that's good enough. If it was like 50, I'd say, nah, it doesn't really count for anything. It's 2 minutes. But 550, I'll give you an actual lead on that. Great sign for Immortals, who are up 2,500 gold as a team. The Grubs, they still have 3 of them. They don't have any more. The other ones despawned, but Shopify only got a single one. The Herald is now live on the map too.
Yep, and if you're wondering why things are kind of looking a little bit different this week as far as the bot lanes that we're seeing, double support items did get nerfed. In fact, it basically got deleted.
Yep.
It got changed in the patch, so the penalty applies, from both players. So you couldn't actually both buy support item and share that. That's why we're seeing a lot less double enchanters and these types of things. And I think more of a movement back towards some of these hard engaged supports, which I do think is a very good change for the game, because it was kind of just one of those things that it's like, it's clearly not really intended. It's kind of just abusing some mechanics that were left in there.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty happy to see it go. Was not that fun to play against either.
It's not an exploit, but it's not the intended way of playing the game. Yeah. It's not technically an exploit, but
you're not a cheater, but I do still hate you.
Yeah, exactly. Right? It's like a guy that only bunts in baseball. It's like you're not cheating, but I really just don't have any respect. But let's see what goes on with the rest of Shopify's plan here, because they got a lot of ground to make up. The gold lead's still about 2,500 in the favor of Immortals. They have the Rift Herald in their pocket now. That could be a lot of extra gold, depending on how good of drivers they are. We've seen a couple of mishaps with the Herald.
Some drunk driving on the Rift.
Y'all gotta be careful.
Drive.
Get an Uber.
Yeah,
don't take your Herald into the turret.
Don't drive Shelly into a wall.
It might end up right next to the mid lane wall.
Speaking of bad Shelly drivers, we played a game the other day. I saw you get into Shelly.
Let's not talk about Olleh's in trouble, Isaac. Olleh's in trouble. Zeyzal's gonna get locked down. He tries to re-engage with the Magnet Storm into the crash down, but the only thing crashing is him into the dirt. Shopify trying to reinforce here. FakeGod arrives with the teleport, but all he can do is say a couple nice words about his buddy Zeyzal. Castle takes the turret up here in the top side. Another advantage going Immortals' way.
Yeah, that's tough. Shopify do commit the TP down towards that bottom side, give up the tier 1. They're going to lose farm up there as well. They pop the Nocturne ult. They don't even end up going in on it, so weren't able to get much of anything there whatsoever. And now Mask, they're just playing around this point of power. He's almost got his second full lethality item.
He's popping off.
He is really strong at this point. I had been hearing some good things about him from scrims, and it's been nice to see some of those kind of moments now showing on stage. And you want to see these guys have a good debut. And Mask down here going to be working away on this tier 1. No one close enough to stop it. So that tower is just going to be straight up gone. That's going to be his second item completed. And I feel like at this point, when you see your mid laner that bed, Armao, you glue yourself to this guy, and you make sure he cannot get 2v1 by the Nocturne. You play behind him. Any turn Nocturne is up, you got to be covering him because you're going to win the 2v2.
You are his shadow. If he's going somewhere, you're going with him. That's your meal ticket right there.
That's Mr. President. You're the Secret Service.
Yup. You're the car. Just make sure that
he's not even the guy in the car?
Nope, you are the car.
Okay.
He's not going anywhere without you. Hubris completed for Mask now as well. And you can see in the inventory, the tier already over 300 stacks. So once that Manamune gets built, it's immediately going to evolve into the Muramana for the third item power spike. This dude has all of the power in the game in the palm of his hand.
How tilted do you get when you press tab and you see Hubris has like 50 AD on it? Because that makes me want to FF immediately.
Yeah, it's just like, okay.
Oh, you just have 2 items on that one item. That's cool.
Yeah, for sure. Great item.
Fine.
Yeah. This is a great game state to have to play from here. Akali still aboard the struggle bus back in the mid lane as well. Insanity still not able to get on the board, even with an assist. Shopify only having a single kill thus far as Olleh goes for the engage. Locking down Insanity with Twisted Advance. Accelerated Shock Blast going to find him from a distance as the curtain call opens up. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3 only hits Bugi. Number 4 goes out and flies wide. Meanwhile, Zeyzal is your sacrificial lamb, and Immortals wants to feel for dinner. Gets away for a moment, but Castle's ready to eat him up. Armao hits him with another one of the blooming blows, and Castle picks it up. 6-1 game. 4,500 gold for Immortals. For a squad that looked real shaky in week 1, they're starting off week 2 with some style.
Yeah, they're looking good. I mean, they are dominating Shopify right now. It is a 4.5k gold lead here. We are not even 20 minutes into the game. It's going to be another dragon to boot. they are cruising. They're just going to continue playing around their point of power here. Mask looking great. Castle did commit his TP there, but because they get the Dragon off the back of it, I think that it is absolutely fine. Also do really like Trailblazer from Olleh here in this position because they are playing from that big advantage. You're getting the move speed, you're getting additional move speed for your teammates as well to be able to follow up on those engages. And Mask here looking to continue shoving in while again Armao playing behind him non-stop, always there to cover, making sure you don't give up that bounty.
All right, FakeGod grabbing that top lane tier 1. That's something. It's not a lot, but you got to take whatever you can get in a game state like this. Still a 4,000 gold lead. Next, Drake not going to be spawning too terribly far from now, I wouldn't think. But Baron being up in 35 seconds puts a whole nother level of pressure on. Because if you are Shopify, you know you can't have any more of these team fights anywhere in the top half of the map where you just lose a couple guys for no reason. Because then the Baron gets taken. Then the snowball really starts to become an avalanche.
Yeah, exactly. It becomes really tough to be able to actually answer in these side lanes when you're already kind of getting bullied around in the side lanes. Let's be honest, they're going to be looking for B-Boy. The cleanse is there, but is it enough?
Okay, not quite going to have anything just yet. Shopify get themselves away. They're off to the side. Next Dragon's a really far away time away, by the way. I didn't have my objective timer up, so I definitely misspoke earlier, but that's okay. We're not really going to worry about that. As the Herald is summoned up, they put it on autopilot. It connects with the turret. Tier 2 about to fall, as Immortals will not be able to stick around to guarantee it. Bugi flies in, and FakeGod's ready to follow up. Tactical! Gets dogpiled, and Insanity gets his mark. Olleh tries to escape, but it's already a 2 for 1. Making a 2 for 1. Mask is ready to pop off. FakeGod is low, and Mask is about to execute him. 3v3 left of the map as Castle is now going to get focus fire down underneath the tier 2 turret. The arrows fly and the Udyr dies. Armao and Mask, the last two standing. Shopify took their moment. They went in and they finally found a fight.
Yeah, they get those 3 kills. Big engage here from Shopify. We'll see in the replay one more time. They're just going all in here onto Tactical. FakeGod in on top of him, scoops him over the wall. Doesn't get the full stun, but he is feared up, and there's no real way out there for him. Does have the cleanse, tries to flash, but Insanity is there to clean things up. But looking over the side, the double seep from Armao. Mask insta flashes over the wall, gets the first kill, hammer form to the skies, and sends FakeGod back to the base as he slams him down, able to trade one back. That final kill, though, making things slightly in the favor of Shopify at the end of the day. But still, it is that 4K lead here. Mask, pretty damn good, I would have to agree. And he did get some stacks there as well on the Hubris. So an additional 20 AD now sitting on it. We'll see if he can keep that buff active, continue to keep that stacking before it does actually fall off.
Yeah.
But it's just all about playing around him. He's got 3 full items. He's an entire item ahead of any of the carries over on Shopify's side.
Muramana getting completed. I already talked about it earlier, but the thing is such a huge power spike since it's locked behind the stacking mechanism. The stacking is already taken care of. Huge stuff here for Immortals. But what exactly do you want to see from them now? Because traditionally, this is what we can run into when we have teams that are usually sitting in the lower parts of the standings. Even when they get leads, sometimes they can't close it out as effectively as you would hope for. What's the next steps to guarantee that this really good early game from Immortals translates to a win?
I think it's really more of the same. You know, I kind of have confidence because they've shown me that they know what to do. It's playing through sides. You know, again, we look up towards the top side. It's going to be Mask pushing out that side. It's Olleh getting vision and covering for him. It's Armao here behind him as well. And if you're dominating vision in your enemy jungle after pushing it out, then you can move over to Barons and things like that. But there for now, just searching, hunting, and Zeyzal may be in some trouble here as Olleh's going to look.
Yeah, crash down buffers through the Twisted Advance yet again, but now the Nature's Grasp is ready to fly out. Bugi flies in, Mask is the target, but Bugi's going to learn his lesson real quick. Castle and Tactical work together to take him down, but now the rest have been put to sleep. The blooming blows come out, and another kill goes back over to Armao. Immortals have found 2, one of which is the jungler, and the enemy top laner is at death's door. This is the green light to go for the Baron.
Yeah, they're going to go straight for the Baron here, and I don't think there's any real way for them to contest it. You can see Insanity's just going to TP down towards bot, try to push in, maybe look for a tower. I don't even think he's going to have time to be able to get that. B-Boy trying to sneak out here, see if he can get any sort of a miracle Q, but not going to be able to get in range. Immortals secure the Baron. They win a fight on top side. They know the recipe to success. Play here around Mask. Make sure you're peeling for him. Make sure you're covering him at all turns. The ulti comes in, the lights go out, but look how fast that TP was from Castle, by the way. Was insta TP, was able to get that down and get up towards that top lane to cover. And then there's no real way out as you're trying to run. It's just a shooting range for the Jhin, slowing you down, knocking you down. those 2 kills, all they needed to secure the Baron.
Huge for Immortals, over 6,000 gold in the lead. The Drake is just about to spawn now, and Immortals, with this amount of an advantage over their opponents, I don't really see an angle for Shopify to contest this. I think you just end up yielding it, but they're hanging around. They want to see if there's any kind of an angle. Maokai makes it even more difficult, just being able to lay down those saplings as your opponents try to approach. Mask, separated from the rest of the team, but confident in his ability to deal with Bugi. He forces back the Nocturne, but Insanity wants an angle. Massive Magnet Storm coming out from Zeyzal. It's 2 already dead on Immortals. What were they doing? Shopify still having all 5 men, but Insanity is about to drop. Armao grabbing the kill on that one, thanks to the damage over time. Castle's still looking for a little bit more. The sleep has landed. There's another one. FakeGod's about to be number 3. The curtain has been called, and Shopify is on the run. Beautiful downtown shot from Tactical. Just when it looked like Shopify might have had something, here comes the deer. And Immortals managed to get a 4 for 2.
Immortals turning that one around. Tactical barely surviving as Insanity was piling in after him. Armao shows up and has so much power at this point in the game. 5-0-7, 10 stacks on the Dark Seal, able to make it happen even with the great engage. And we do have to give credit to it. The initial play didn't look like anything was going to happen, but look at Zeyzal coming in from the side here. Zeyzal finds the angle, flash RW, getting that Magnet Storm on multiple members here. They execute Mask, and then Insanity are thinking maybe he can actually finish off Tactical, but he's not able to do it. Armao arrives, gets the Q onto 2, the sleep comes in, and he tells him, go to bed. Taking 1 down, the W lands on the second, rooting him up for another kill. Bugi was on the run, but there was no real way out. The 4th shot takes another one, and they're able to chase down that final kill at the end of the day. Gotta be happy about how that did work out. Yeah, Mask went down, but things looking great for Immortals.
I really like the patience from Tactical there, too. He wanted to make sure that when he opened up the curtain call,
oh my God,
he was in a spot where he got to fire off multiple shots and didn't have to reposition, either because of pressure from his opponents or the fight just getting too far away. Yeah, 6,000.
It's a lot.
From Armao. Wow, man, okay. The Lillia, we said we needed to see this guy be able to carry. We needed to see him step up and drive the car for a little bit. Little did we know, this man's hitting some F1 status in this game. The Lillia leading the charge, the Jayce, the massive cannon to back him up, and Tactical 4-1-8 here in this Jhin as well. Having a very good game for himself. Immortals, almost 7,000 gold lead, pushing down the top lane. Tier 2 turret should melt away pretty swiftly, given how much damage is in their inventories, plus having the extra bonus from the 3 Void Grubs, as it's still about 4 minutes away from what will be the Chem Soul, if they're able to claim it. As you already mentioned, yeah, it's not as strong as some of the other ones, but it's still a really nice power boost that your opponents are going to feel even more like their backs are against the wall having to deal with.
Exactly. It does make it really tough for Shopify in an already very difficult position. That last fight, you know, is about as good of an angle as they're probably going to find. You need those huge engages from Zeyzal. He was able to deliver one, and it did make it close, but it's just so tough because there's a lot of threats over on this Immortals side. And you're having to spend all your cooldowns to just get 1 kill. Then all of a sudden, the other members of Immortals can kind of just run you over. Castle's just playing this disruptive duty. He has so many strong members, so many strong carries around him. He's full tank. He just needs to mix things up, stun people up, slow them up. Same thing here for Olleh, who's just walking around throwing saplings in every single brush, making sure you can't get taken off guard.
Yeah, and this is also one of the consequences of Insanity's Akali being stuck so far behind. Castle was just able to hard rush 2 armor items. Yes, he's got the Cowl Mao, so padding it with a little bit of MR, but he's got armor boots, 2 full armor items. Akali's not going to kill Udyr. That's not happening, and the rest of the targets are just troubled getting through these defensive stats. Immortals using the curtain call to try to keep Shopify back far enough to pressure onto this tier 3 turret, but it does not work. Shopify doing a good job making sure they can keep this baseline defended. Immortals might end up needing to grab another Baron in order to break through the base of Shopify, but unfortunately for Shopify, that's only about a minute away.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're this far behind, you're nearly 9,000 gold. We all know that feeling when you fall behind a heavy farming jungler. It just never feels like you ever get a camp for the rest of the game, right?
Nope.
You can look over at Lillia, going on 70 CS ahead, you know, really looking to be power farming incredibly heavily, plus getting the kills and the assists in the team fight. So 3 items already completed here for Armao. The Zhonya is now done, so he can even look for those Q flashes into the backline, throw down the ulti, Zhonya's to buy the time, then follow up. Well, everyone is piling in. It really creates chaos. So having that opportunity can be quite big. You can see as well, third item now done here for Tactical, fourth item done for Mask. They are well and truly online. They want to fight, so they're just going to be setting up around this Baron area. That's going to be starting to spawn here pretty soon. Get the vision, poke and prod at anyone from Shopify who tries to come over here and contest.
And again, it's just another strength of having Maokai in the team too. Playing from ahead with Maokai just feels like you're not playing by the rules. You can set up so many of these saplings. If they ever try to do a full send so that they don't get poked down by it, you immediately stop them with the Nature's Grasp. Olleh is set up with all the tools that he needs to guarantee that Immortals have an advantage in this fight.
I will say, B-Boy, I think, has quietly had a pretty solid game, but it is tough when you are this far behind. You know, he just doesn't really find the opportunities to stand and fire, you know, to stack up lethal tempo, to really get a lot of autos in. But at the same time, if you go full lethality, the Udyr is going to be immune to damage. Like, you have no one that could ever kill him. So, you know, I definitely understand why he did go on hit here, but the game has just really not worked out in his favor. You know, he's constantly under threat and doesn't really find that time to get enough damage out, but it is going to be Immortals looking for the engage.
Olleh with a flash into the twisted advance, followed up in a Nature's Grasp. Zeyzal's already almost dead, but not quite yet. Insanity into the back, looking for Tactical, but he's going to be controlled. Olleh drops at least. Insanity getting away for now. Armao is low. Castle also just trying to protect these guys as the curtain call fires off. B-Boy trying to get away. The haste from the Blade of the Ruined King will not outrun a bullet, and Mask is ready to finish him off. It's Olleh traded away for B-Boy and Insanity.
Yeah, beautiful team fighting there from Immortals again. Castle's just harassing B-Boy, keeping him out of the fight, and then as he flashes over the wall, the W lands from Tactical, and Mask is there with the Shock Blast to finish it off, and now they're going to be able to grab their soul here. Immortals really looking good to start week number 2. People are going to be having to start reevaluating some things about those preconceived notions about some of these players, about the preconceived notions even of Shopify, who has really not been equal to the task thus far against Immortals.
Yeah, Shopify struggling heavily, honestly, throughout this entire game, I think, just from the laning phase of Immortals having control of things. Now with that soul in their inventory, they're going to be feeling even better. 10,000 gold ahead. They can go right back to what they were doing before. Control the enemy jungle, choke out the vision, force the Baron in the game.
Yeah, Castle's got his Mage Eyes now. He upgraded to that as well. You can see a locket now through for Olleh. So just kind of trying to check all the boxes. How could you possibly lose from this point? It is going to be really, really hard.
Whenever you build Medjai's Soul Stealer as a melee champion with no dash, no stealth, no I turn invulnerable for some BS reason ability, I just feel like it's even if it's good, it's more BM. You're just engaging in mental warfare, as Zeyzal is going to be your target here at the start of the fight. Accelerated Shock Blast into the back, ain't gonna find a whole lot as Castle is locked down. There go the stacks, there goes his homework, there goes Zeyzal, as Bugi's gonna be your next target. Into the back goes Armao, the Zonias you were talking about. Insanity cannot escape the triple kill back up in a Tactical. Make it a quadra, 1, 2, 3, 4, everybody give Jhin more. Immortals are not gonna need Baron, they're not gonna need any more time, they're gonna march it straight on in. 21-9, an ace for 2 to end the game. It's all about just taking out the Nexus turrets. They're taking their victory lap. Tactical just flashing around because it's fun. No reason not to. Immortals will start off week 2 with a win and send Shopify to a 0-3 start.
And what a feel-good game it is for them, because this was not some fluke victory that they got, some throw from their opponents. This was Immortals dominating from start to finish in this game. From the laning phase to the jungle plan, everything made sense. They coordinated well. They played around Mask with excellent laning. Armao had a great game here, really got ahead of the curve. I think the whole team should really be proud about this one.
Yeah, everybody had some really impressive performances. You talked about Castle running interference the entire time. He's never letting him breathe. Olleh controlling the zones in the way that he needed to. Armao never died. The Lillia never dropped. Not once.
He should have got the Mage Eyes.
This is not
what is he doing?
This is not a canon event for Bambi. The man just walked through it. He's doing so well.